What's going on, everybody? It's Steve here with the Season 2 review from your third/fourth place Waterloo Wormadams. Uh, very nearly making the finals again. Sadly, it was not meant to be. God wasn't on my side this time. And we're taking a look back in the same style of Jordan's review. And Poppin's, actually. And I definitely stole something from Poppin at the end, so stay tuned for that. Let's get into it, the draft board. So I won Season 1. I wanted to have a theme for Season 2, have fun, see how far I could get. Gen 4 is the best, so Gen 4 only it was. My goal going into this was just to win 5 games. I won 6. I didn't really try in Week 10, so I'm not really going to count that. And I made it to the semifinals, so I exceeded my expectations. But here's my draft board. Cresselia was the only S tier Pokemon from Gen 4, so that was required, basically. And then you can see, basically I wanted Togekiss next or Heatran. Heatran was my first pick because I thought it would get nabbed up before Togekiss or Cresselia. Togekiss got picked immediately after Heatran, so that threw out a lot of my plans. You can see I started highlighting things in red as they left. Porygon Z, I think, went in the first round. Togekiss went right after Heatran. Drifblim went in the first round. Samax, what the hell? I think Garchomp went before I could pick again after I picked Cresselia. So a lot of my plans just got thrown out the window. And I originally only had up to Gen 4 Draft 6 planned out, but once all those were filled with red, I just started... Oh no, I had up to the last Togekiss, and then I made 3 separate plans there. As you see on the end, I think Tangrowth was my next pick, followed by Rhyperior probably, and then Gastrodon. No, Rhyperior, Gastrodon, Tangrowth probably. Something like that. Riolu was a bad pick. Drapion, I probably should have used more. As you can see, Munchlax was in all 3 of the plans there. Dusknoir was planned, Glaceon was planned, but it got snapped up. I had Drifloon in there. Vespiquen's just really garbage. Rotom Wash, I had in there twice. But in the end, I decided on Rhyperior. And what else? Abomasnow, which I did get. So you can tell I clearly went with this middle plan here. Except I got rid of Vespiquen and took Mime Jr. Rotom, definitely a mistake. Some other cool options in here. Spiritomb, I really wanted to pick Spiritomb, but I couldn't fit him in. Toxicroak's also really good. Rotom Fan is interesting, but it's got a completely useless ability. There's a Krogunk sighting, which I actually did end up taking in a trade. Electivire, I'm glad I didn't pick because in the end he's just pretty garbage. Bonsly shows up a lot. This was mainly for rock coverage, but with an Eviolite, he gets up to like 140 defense, and his attack's actually pretty reasonable. So, pretty good option. Weavile, Lucario, stuff is there, Magnemortar. Yeah, Frostlass is there, Gallade, somebody took Gallade. Snover, because I was taking other tier 3s and one Luxray in that position. The lack of getting Togekiss meant I wasn't taking Spiritomb, which was sad, but I like the team that I ended up with. But this is the evolution of my thought process. We'll talk about my awards that I sent to Braff, some of them anyway. Oops, don't know what happened there. Okay, my MVP is Cresselia. Worst S tier in the league, for sure, but it was the most reliable Pokemon on my team. I brought it every week except for Meme Week 10, where I brought my 6 least played Pokemon. She played in 19 out of my 26 regular season games, and now that the playoffs have been played, that's 3 out of 5. Didn't play at all against Sticky, played every game against Braff. 13 wins, 6 losses, which is decent. That's above 2/3. 9 and 13 KD. Obviously doesn't seem good, but in at least half the games it was a support. 5 Dynamaxes and 4 wins in those games. So seems like a bad max, but it won 80% of the games it maxed, so that's pretty good. The big thing is the 19 different moves used. And she played in 19 games, so that's a different move in every single game, or per game, or a unique move in every game, which is pretty good. You never knew what this thing was going to bring, and I think that was one of my main advantages in this season. Let's get on to the next one. Value pick. Y'all knew this was coming. Munchlax. I imagine Glaceon probably wins the value pick award, but Munchlax is a funnier value pick. It 4-0'd both Poppin Fresh and Nelly. Against Poppin Fresh, it was Dynamax plus coaching plus acupressure with an Eviolite, just making him unkillable. And against Nelly, it was Belly Drum Max and then self-destruct at the end of the game. And we had that great moment where there was a Shell Smash Blastoise with a Landorus on the other side, and I might Munchlax Belly Drum and explode on them and kill them both. He played in 7 games, got 11 kills. As you can see, the 4-0 and then that self-destruct against Braff makes up 10 of those 11 kills. 4 Dynamaxes, 3 wins in those games. The 1 loss came against Poppin Fresh after he adapted very well to my strategy and brought out Intimidate right away. And look at that guy, he's cute as heck. Best mid-season pickup. Dusknoir, by far. This thing is amazing. However, I will say that he's probably the reason I lost to Braff. It would have been much better if I just brought Tangrowth to that game instead of Dusknoir. All Dusknoir did was come in and die in Game 2. He was in the back of Game 1, but he didn't even have to come out. So he gave me a good switch into normal and fighting moves, which is what I picked base form Rotom for. Base form Rotom is terrible. Also has Will-O-Wisp, which Rotom does as well. Another good Trick Room setter, because the only one I had was Cresselia, who's pretty fast. Mime Jr. also has it, but Mime Jr. is terrible. I picked him up in Week 4 and brought him every week except for Week 10. And I brought him to both playoff series. As I said, probably a mistake in the second one. Third most played on my team behind Cresselia and Tangrowth with 9 games. Tangrowth had 11, Cresselia, as I said, had 19. 6 wins, 3 losses, 11 kills, 5 deaths. He only died in half the number of games he played, which is pretty good. 4 Dynamaxes, only won 2 of those, which is a little bit of a downside, but beggars can't be choosers with a Tier 3 mid-season pickup. All in all, Dusknoir is one of my favorite Pokemon. I should have just drafted him right away, but he's awesome. He's a pretty good value pick too. 100 base attack, 130 or 40 base defense and special defense, so he's a really good Dynamax target. Worst pick? Obviously Rotom. Mainly picked for ghost coverage, Will-O-Wisp, and Levitate Ally Switch. And I think it was Week 3 before I played Jordan. I was looking ahead at what other teams had, and I was like, wow, Rotom's really good. Or Will-O-Wisp is really good. And Levitate's really good against like the next 4 weeks. And then I was like, wait, why don't I just pick up Rotom Wash and get rid of either Heatran or Rhyperior? And for a while I thought that getting rid of Rhyperior was a mistake, but if I don't have Heatran, I probably lose in the playoffs. He didn't play a lot in the regular season, but in the playoffs he came up huge. The worst thing about Rotom is that he was a waste of a pick, didn't even play him, and therefore a waste of a free agent move. I had to use one of my free agent moves to get rid of him. I could have also used that move to get rid of Mr. Mime Jr. and picked up something useful, like hell, even Vespiquen Bonsly would have been useful. Knowing that I played against Braff, maybe a Luxio could have been good. Just something to hit Blastoise. But like I said before, I should have just brought Tangrowth. Playoff MVP, Heatran, definitely. 10-1 KD, 3-1 record. Played all but one game, which was game 2, and was one flinch away from turning around a 1-on-4 to make it to the finals. And look at him, he's so freaking cool. I Dynamaxed him in all of those games, I think. Yeah, I did. So it's also a 3-1 Dynamax record. And the fact that he almost secured wins against Azumarill and Blastoise, well, he did secure the win against Azumarill, but the fact that he almost turned it around against a Blastoise just speaks volumes to his ability. I think this is a lot like Porygon 2 last season, where I didn't really rely on him during the regular season, and then come the playoffs, just absolutely took off. So, this guy's definitely getting picked next season. Guarantee it. If nobody picks this, you're crazy. Best moments. First game of the season, going with Weakness Policy Cresselia and beating the Chandelure. What's that other one? Alchemy team. Munchlax exploding on Braff and Nelly successfully. Abomasnow freezing blizzards, getting me the thunderous win against Poppin Fresh, and then I froze Jordan's Blastoise, which stole me a game. Lost the series, but he stole me a game. And I made Heatran levitate like 3 separate times with Cresselia. That's always fun. And actually, one more point. That last game against Braff is probably the craziest game I've ever played in. The fact that if I don't flinch, I actually move on is pretty crazy. And I can't wait to cast it. I'm doing this video on Friday. The cast will be up on Sunday, and so will this video. Some lessons I learned. Variability is good. Rotom Wash. Is it going to be Will-O-Wisp, Eerie Impulse, Nasty Plot? Could add in there Ally Switch, Discharge plus Earthquake, and the Ground type. Cresselia, full support, Weakness Policy Sweeper, or Choice Scarf. Or even setting Trick Room, or stopping Trick Room with Imprison. I never went full support. Actually, I did bring double screens one time, but otherwise it was usually a Scarf Speed Dropper or Weakness Policy Sweeper. Dusknoir could be a support like I ran against Braff and it didn't work. Could it be a Trick Room setter or a Sweeper? Normally it was a Sweeper, but it could do other things. Tangrowth, do people want to bring safety goggles or not? Most people did not, and it definitely worked in my favor. Munchlax does not work without Tangrowth, or other redirection. Heatran basically guarantees that if the opponent has a water or a ground type, they're gonna A, bring them to the match, and B, probably bring them to every game. Because if you don't, what are you beating Heatran with? Very few people actually had good fighting coverage. I think Minty's the only notable one. Sticky had Glade. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Lesson number 2, speed control is good. My weird speed tiers meant that I could choose which speed tier I wanted to be in. So against Nelly, whose team had like 6 or 7 Pokemon faster than my entire team, obviously I'm going to choose Trick Room. So that's when I get my Rage Powder Trick Room off. But against somebody like Braff or Sticky, where the only thing that's faster than my team is Landorus, or originally it was just Porygon Z and something else, Pikachu maybe, but then Sticky picked up Weavile and Terrakion, so that just kept going up, but it still wasn't too fast. That's where I bring in my Choice Scarf speed drops. Icy Wind from Caress or Abomasnow, Bulldoze from Drapion, Mamoswine, Heatran, Abomasnow. That list keeps going, by the way. I had like 8 Bulldoze users, or Electro Web from Rotom. The only way to guarantee you're not getting speed dropped would be with Wide Guard. I think the only reliable one that I played was Turtonator against Braff, and he didn't even bring it. So I think every game I wanted to do this Choice Scarf speed drop, it worked. And yeah, my guaranteed Trick Room, Rage Powder plus Trick Room, as I said, or a Mental Herb, or an Ally Switch Trick Room, which I think I used in week 1. Dynamax wisely. Dynamax is broken, and if you have to max a support Rotom wash, hopefully my cursor's showing up, 1 in 3 Dynamax Rotom. It does include 2 against Tom Zombie. No, just 1. Dynamax Mamoswine in the other one. There's that loss. You've already lost. So I don't really count Mamoswine's 1 loss. He did lose against Braff when he maxed as well. Tangrowth was against Jordan, who my team was horribly prepared for. And I think every time I maxed Rotom, he had like Will-O-Wisp and something else. And was there primarily to support. Obama Snowmax, I think, was against Jordan, and it won, which is pretty funny, but that's also not a good idea. Heatran's D-Max, I didn't update this after the playoffs, but he goes up to 5-2, which is pretty good. You can see that when I did have a plan, which is typically the Cresselia, the Munchlax, Heatran or Rhyperior, Dynamax worked out. When I didn't have a plan, it did not work out. And that would be a lesson for me, is to work on knowing my win condition and knowing who to Dynamax and when to Dynamax. Bulk is good. Taking away, whoops, don't know, oh no, spoiler. Taking away Mime Jr. and Krogunk, because Krogunk I only played once outside of the meme week, and Mime Jr. I also only played once outside of the meme week. These stats are absurd. Average HP of 90. Average attack is actually pretty high. Like, the lowest is Rotom and Cresselia. Everything else, like, these are all super usable attack stats. Even Heatran has a usable attack stat, but the defense, average defense of 100, this is including the 40 of Munchlax, which goes up with Eviolite. Special attack, kind of low, but that's because I've got these things that are never, ever going to use a special attack. Actually, Mamo's only 5 lower than Cresselia. That's funny. The special defense, also very high. Kind of struggle with Tangrowth and Mamoswine, but Tangrowth's main job there was to Rage Powder, and if it lived, keep Rage Powdering, Sleep Powder sometimes. Mamoswine, I just slapped an Assault Vest on, and that doesn't matter anymore. Plus his HP is huge. Yeah, this bulk is crazy. 90, 100, 93 average stats across my team is bonkers. Especially if, let's just say, put this up to 60 and that up to 120. I know that's not how the item works. It doubles your actual stat, not your base stat, but the defense almost wins championships. Sadly, it did not. But this is a good takeaway for Draft League. You got to get through this team somehow. And that's my complete thoughts on this season. I had fun. Every week was fun. And knowing that I was literally one turn and 80% chance of victory to make it to the finals again, I'm pretty happy with that. And it's going to be a pretty hype cast. Gonna sell the hell out of the fact that I was about to use Solar Beam on Blastoise. Next season. Here is what next season's plan would look like had I done it this season. And you know what? I keep saying next season's team is going to be worse than this season, but this team's kind of cracked. It's not a great way to set Sunny Day is the only clear negative I see, but I got like beat up Cobalion, Charge-a-Bug with Appleton or Magnezone or Charizard, Scarf Darm, competitive Wigglytuff. We got baby Venusaur Charizard if I can get the sun up somehow. G-Max Kingler to lower speed. This team actually looks legit. So there is the. You can make your guesses on what this means for next season. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.